Sometimes late at night, when I can't sleep, I think about those questions that sound really easy to solve but are actually one of those impossible ones. Just thinking of larger than life problems that never get solved in hundreds of lifetimes. Questions that have been debated for several centuries. Questions like, what's the best one out of the Geometry main levels? If you guess that this video is gonna solve that, you'll be dead wrong because I don't got time for that. I can tell you what's the worst one though. Yeah, I know, this opinion is very controversial. People have already pointed out that Geometrical Dominator sucks. But why though? Why is this the most hated of all the main levels? I'll give you a couple reasons, but let's address the elephant in the room. You've got to put ground spikes here. Alright, now I've got that out of the way, this gameplay is absolutely disgusting. Everyone already knows about the memory part, but look at the rest of them too. They all have the same problem. I might as well just play the whole thing blindfolded at this point. This entire level is just a compilation of moving objects shoving spikes in your face. I can't believe Robbo had a full year to make a layout and came up with this trash. I'll get to the trigger abuse later, but the difficulty is actually not too consistent. Most parts have a 1 second window where everything suddenly becomes a 9-star. Like the ship section here with a single dip below, which is most likely the only other place besides the memory part but good players would regularly die at. I've been playing this game for almost 7 years now, and if your straightforward update opening level has me dying off into it, you've got a problem. I don't think this is a great introduction to the robot either. This part could have easily just been a cube part and nothing would feel out of place. Same with the rainbow drop part. It doesn't really feel climactic, it's just kind of there. It actually applies to every single part in this level besides the memory part, but that was completely because of Rob Top's incompetency when building the part. If I can give this level credit for anything though, it's how well each part flows within each other. As tempting as it might be to just chuck a teleport portal wherever the part ends, it's good to see Rob visually acknowledging that most levels feel less disjointed whenever they seamlessly transition. That's something he's done since the beginning. Not that it's super difficult to transition one-time speed gameplay and block designs made completely out of default blocks. Almost all of Rob's levels age horribly the moment that the community gets a hand on the new update because he never tries with the deco at all. It's just the standard basic block deco that anyone would make for their first level. Rob's a man of tradition. Almost all of his faults and successes when building can be seen at every single level he's ever made, no matter how fancy and maintained he makes the toolbox. Look at his recent 2.2 preview. You can't tell me that this isn't just taken from the default block designs in the editor. You may think that this looks good now, sure, but that's only because we haven't gotten the update yet. I can guarantee that the moment the update comes out, someone will release something that will date this not only to the year, but also the month that it comes out. Like, it's already dated now. While looking through the featured section, somebody already got around to it. It's not the first time this has happened either. When the 2.1 sneak peek was released, it was made in the 2.0 editor almost immediately, and on top of all of that, there were also several really good fully fledged levels that did a much better job than the real level we got with a far weaker toolset. Even the new gameplay elements were recreated almost one-to-one. Despite some animation, it was bang on. Making 2.1 fan levels was such a big trend that it was even included as a full category in the 2.0 awards. You know, the ones that are 5 years old. How about this? Let me play a little tune for you. Sounds a bit familiar. Recognize this one? No? Here's a little visual aid to help you out. Almost all players that were active in the 1.9 era will recognize Mayonnaise, a song that is synonymous with the late 1.9 period. I bet most of you watching can remember playing a 2.0 fan level with this song that may or may not have gargantuan oversized versions of monster objects. I could go back further, but I think you get the idea. Every update as things get more complicated, the Rob Top levels seem to get worse as the possibilities of the game grow. But is that really true? If you think about it for a minute, most if not all Rob's levels were built the exact same way. Sure, the one from 2.0 is seen by most people, including me, as the bottom of the barrel when it comes to main levels, but is it a coincidence that 2.0 is most often the update that players are the least fond of? To be honest, I don't think people would be really talking about it at all if the memory part didn't stick out like a sore thumb in the most important part of the entire level. Sure, almost every single trigger and moving object in the level is completely unnecessary, but the same can be said with most levels of that era. If you watch Whirlwind's recreation of Geometrical Dominator, you would also notice that it's much clearer and most of the difficulty is removed. It's pretty much a 5-star by that point. Although if the level was fixed into something more straightforward and sight readable, it would not only have its major flaws and difficulty removed, but also its charm and memorability. The memory part is basically the only reason people mention it today at all. Out of all of Rob Top's levels, only about 8 are still actively discussed. There being a few reasons, but most importantly it's either difficulty, charm, memes, or in this case their flaws. Although I can say I'm not a fan of this level, I'm glad it exists. If anything, there's enough history and information behind it to constitute a 6-minute video. That's something not too many levels can say about themselves. So even if you dislike the level as much as I do, I recommend you play it once more, for old Rob's sake.